Hello everyone, it's Sai coming at you with a Monster Hunter World Iceborne video. We're going to be taking a look at the Grimalkin Photo book. In this video I'm hoping to at least help people find different ways to try and get the Grimalkin photos. I know that this is still a very rare achievement for a lot of people. I'm guessing it's because not a lot of people are either doing this because it doesn't interest them or they don't understand how to get these. It's really not that difficult once you start doing them. You kind of figure out the best ways to do it, and so in this video I plan on just showing the ways that I was able to get each of them done. You get all the 3 paw print, gold star, banana sticker photos. It is definitely worth doing if you're short on research points. Each one of these that you complete gives you a pretty decent size boost to your research point pool, as well as some pretty neat rewards. Every time you complete an entire area, say you complete the Wildspire Waste, you get a Grimalkin doll that you can then put in your room. But again, this isn't something that you absolutely have to do. It's just something that completionists or people who find it interesting can take up and do outside of having to do all the monster hunting. Again, hopefully this helps out, and we'll be taking a look at the first one. So here we go. Alright, and the first one here is going to be a keen sense of smell. This one is pretty straightforward. It does require that you do see that you know where the bug trapper lair is. Pretty easy if you just head up to the ancient forest, ancient camp up in the top of the trees by the Rathalos and Rathian nest. You can find it pretty quickly. And here in the video, you're going to see where I'm starting. I just started the Ancient Forest camp up at the very top, and we're just going to head on over to the Bug Trapper lair. It's a pretty tall, pretty long climb. So just bear with the video here, folks. We're going to be jumping on over and heading on up. I'm just going to let the footage run here, just so that way people who don't know where the camp is, what the lair is, or if it's been a while since you've been there and you kind of forgot, you can kind of get an idea. But it's pretty easy. Just gonna head over from the ancient forest camp and just climb on up. And then the hardest part, one of the biggest pet peeves about doing this whole thing, was you kind of have to wait. And there are a few of these where you're going to be in the lair and you're just going to be kind of standing around waiting for this event to happen. You can see that I'm checking to make sure that I know what I'm looking for, and we're just going to be waiting around. Ideally, you do this when they're looking at you. That's how you're going to get that 3-star paw print achievement for this one. And there's Sir Fluffington ruining the shot. So thankfully, I already had this one done previously, so I didn't need to have it done. And the next one is Keeping the Peace. This is number 2. So this one can be a little bit more difficult to find. It does happen in only one area, in area 6. So that's going to be, remember where the poison cup traps are, up in that area. Now you can see it shows you on the map where it is with that little symbol there with the shutter image next to it, the surveyor set image next to it, and that's kind of going to hold true for a lot of these. If you're ever out on an expedition, you see that on the map, you can head on over there, and that's letting you know that, hey, this is a Grimalkin photo opportunity, head on over here and you can get that photo. But what a lot of people forget is, and if you did the Witcher event, there's a little path over here that you'll see after we go from the area 6. If you run towards area 6 and then you do a complete 180, there's this little path up here. This path doesn't really lead to anywhere, but if you did the Witcher event, you remember you had to come up here for one of the quests, and there they are. So for me, I just waited for them to start moving around, and then wait for that little guy, the leader, to start giving them orders. And I always waited for him to start waving his arm like that, take a picture, boop, and there you go. Now the next one is pretty simple to do. It's the leaf boat. This one can be done at any time, anywhere that there's water. Just make sure that your palico, that you're high enough unity level with the Grimalkins, the bug trappers, in the area that they will follow you as a trail raider. Have your palico befriend one of them, and then just head to any body of water. It doesn't really matter which one, just as long as it's deep enough that your palico and the Grimalkin have to use their floaty devices. And I just went to the very first camp in the game for the ancient forest, ran over to this pool of water up ahead, and then you'll see that I take the picture up here. So just kind of do what I'm doing here, make sure that you get it from the front as large as possible, and that will be an easy 3-paw print picture right there. Alright, and the last one for the Ancient Forest region is Grimalkin under Chilly Wet Roof. Now this one's a little bit more difficult to do. There are 2 areas. I've only ever seen it in Area 6 by the Poison Cup, so same basic area that you're going to go to, like with the second Grimalkin photo for the Ancient Forest. You're going to go in that general area, but it has to be done during the rain, which is the first hard part of this. You have to wait for it to be raining in the Ancient Forest before you can even have a chance at this. The second hard part is it has to be what they call a trendy Grimalkin. Now what that means is you're looking for a Grimalkin with a flower in its hair. I don't know of any other ways that this is done. There may be other ways, and if you know of any other quote-unquote trendy Grimalkins that they're looking for, then definitely leave a comment down below. But the only one that I know of is a flower in the hair. That's the only one I've seen. Now the reason why this is so frustrating is that the flower in the hair Grimalkin, or flower by the ear, is a rare event, and so the first time I did this, I got this photo and it didn't have a flower in its hair. Now you're going to see these 2 walk off and they fade away. This little Grimalkin's all sad and bummed. It's like, oh, I'm all by myself. Oh no. But he's got a little snail friend. He shouldn't be so sad. But then that Grimalkin will come out and it's either not going to have a flower in its hair or it's going to have a flower. And the one that you want for the 3-star is for it to have a flower in its hair. And then you'll take the picture, and that should be, as long as it's as close as possible, as zoomed in as possible, you'll get that 3-paw print. Nice and easy. Alright, and the first one for the Wildspire Waste is going to be Itchy Ears, and this is another one of those where you're just kind of going to end up sitting in the layer of the protectors in the area. Just hang out, and you're going to be waiting for any of the protectors in that area to start scratching their ears. Now, if you have access to the Northwest Camp here, then you're going to just go straight to that camp, climb up the vine wall here, swing around, and go into the lair. If you're brand new to Monster Hunter and you don't have that, fear not. It's pretty quick and easy to find. You're just going to head to the very north part of the map, and you're going to see a little hole that you can drop down in. Drop down there, and that will not only bring you to the protector lair, but it'll also give you access to this camp. I know that getting access to the camp is kind of tied to the protector lair. You will inadvertently find this camp if you go through the Grimalkin quest line and find the Grimalkin layer here, you'll get access to that, so it's not too difficult. But you'll see this is like one of those that I was talking about where you just kind of have to end up sitting and waiting for the event to take place. And in this video, I think I don't wait for them to turn around and face me to get that event because I already had this, but I do take the photo here as soon as I see one of the Grimalkins scratching their ears. So I'm just going to go ahead and let the footage run so we can see what I'm talking about, and then I'll pick it back up at the next one. So the second one for the Wildspire Waste is going to be Grimalkin Out of the Bag. This one isn't as bad as the lair ones. Thankfully this one you can do at any camp. All you're going to have to do is have your Palico go befriend any of the Grimalkins, any of the protectors in the area, head back to camp, so that way the protector will hang out next to your Palico by the Palico item bag. And if you do this at the same time as the first one, you can just go get a picture of the itchy ears and then bring a Palico back to camp. Then you're just going to sit here and wait, and you're going to see me just kind of waiting for Sir Fluffington there to go ahead and start digging around in his Palico equipment bag, and you'll see the Grimalkin kind of being all interested in what Sir Fluffington's doing, and you're going to want to wait until your Palico kind of take something out and the Grimalkin will have a very startled face. That's when you're going to want to snap the picture because you want that surprised reaction. That is one of the requirements, so you want to make sure you get that in there and try and get as close as you can. It doesn't have to be, the Grimalkin doesn't have to be the main in focus subject, but you definitely want it as close as you can, front view with that surprised face, and that should get you the 3-star requirement. So I'm just going to let the footage run so you can see that. The next one for the Wildspire Waste is day training, and this is one that does have to be done during the day. There are 2 different areas that this can take place. You're going to see me coming from one of the first area where I got it from and going into the next area. You're going to be looking for 2 Palicos. So where I'm standing now is the first area. You're going to want to look off the map up on a bunch of rocks, and you'll see 2 Palicos kind of swinging their sticks at each other. In this area, that's where you're going to be looking for. And they weren't here in mine, so this is a perfect example of you don't see them in one area, definitely head to the next area that's listed because they might be there instead. And as you can see in mine, it's not showing that they're going to be in the next area, but I still head to the next area anyway because you never know. You should just go and check anyway just to be sure. So you can see me, I'm going to fly off, I'm going to go check, and then you'll see me snapping the picture. In order to make sure that you get the 3 paw print stamp though, you're going to want to make sure that the Grimalkins are locked in combat. So don't wait until they're done, wait until they're starting back up. Wait until I found the best way to ensure this is that they have their weapons locked, that they've basically crossed swords, if you will, and are currently fighting. So probably my least favorite is the first one of the Coral Highlands. This is definitely one of the top 3 least favorite events that you have to take a photo of. It's Hello There, and it's in the Coral Highlands with the troopers, and it does take place up in their lair, and unfortunately this one is the longest one I felt like that you have to sit there and wait for. It's not the longest one it's not the one that took me the longest to do, but it was definitely the most boring because it requires not 1, but 2 of the troopers in the lair to see each other and do their little cheer move. This took so long that once you see where the route to the trooper lair is, if you haven't done the Grimalkin quest yet for the Coral Highlands, you're going to probably have to do that first, and then you can do this. But you'll see me just doing a lot of standing around and waiting. Don't worry, this isn't going to be a 5-minute section where I'm just standing around waiting. I do cut it down a little bit to where you just see what you're looking for. The main thing here is just to make sure that both of them are in the shot, that they're as large as possible. It can be from any direction, but they're waving their weapons in greeting to each other. And the hard part is, if you miss it, you could be waiting a long time for this event to happen again. It's not that they're going to go away at any point, it's just you're completely at the mercy of the AI to trigger that hello event between 2 of the 3 troopers in the area. So there's really no way that I know of to speed this up. And the other thing is, you don't want your palico to get too close, otherwise it could interrupt it. But there you go, that's what you're waiting for, just that hello. So make sure that you're focused on one of them so you can get that done. The next one's pretty easy, taming the wildlife. This one has to be done during the day, and there has to be clear weather. And that sounds pretty difficult, but if you see it on the map, it does have a pretty clear indicator on the map. There are 2 areas that you can find this in, Area 3 and I believe Area 8 or 9, it says there. You're going to be looking for the Grimalkin riding on a Shamos. Now it's not showing up on the map because I've already had this done by the time I was recording this, but you'll see that I run on over, head over to this next area, and this one's pretty straightforward. Once you jump down from this area, you'll see off in the distance the Grimalkin riding on the back of a Shamos. You can just walk on over, you don't have to worry about scaring them off or anything, and just get a picture as close, as zoomed in on the Grimalkin as you can from the front, riding on the back of that Shamos, and you'll get yourself another easy 3 paw print. The next one for the Coral Highlands is the Sound of Success, and this is another one that is very time dependent. It has to take place during the night. It has to be I don't believe there's any weather restriction other than it just being clear. I don't know it says none, but I haven't been able to find them myself during a turbulent weather. You can see they're right there on the map, so it's pretty quick and easy for me to get there right from this camp, from the only other camp in the Coral Highlands. So I'm just going to run down here. I'll pop a ration there, increase my stamina, because, you know, I skip leg day all the time. They are. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you take a picture of them while they're currently doing their orchestra playing. That way you can ensure that you get 3-star. The first time I did this, I took a picture after they had finished, and that didn't count. And that takes us to the first one for the Rotten Vale, and this is just air pollution. It's a pretty straightforward one. It's one of the ones that are really easy to get. There aren't any restrictions, it can be anywhere on the map, so you're just going to have your Palico befriend one of the plunderers, and you're going to go off to any of the areas where there's thick effluvium, so basically any of the mid-level areas. You're going to avoid the top and the bottom of the Rotten Vale where there isn't any effluvium, and you're going to stand a nice thick cloud of it. Anywhere really that you're going to end up coughing and taking damage from the effluvia is pretty ideal, and you're gonna just turn around, whip around, take a picture of your Grimalkin Trail Raider. You can put on the ghillie mantle like I do here, just so that way the wildlife leaves me alone while I'm taking pictures here, because those gyros are going to be rather hostile because of the effluvium. And there you go, you can already see the Trail Raider there coughing. You're just gonna take a picture of him from the front. The next one is another really easy one to do. There's really no requirements for daytime or weather. It just has to be done in their lair, and it's polished to a sheen. So this one, you can just head on down to the Plunderer lair and get this one. This is another, like the first one of the Rotten Vale, really easy to do, a really easy research point and rewards. I had access to the paw swap, so I could have just quick traveled there if I wanted to, but I wanted to show you guys where you can go, where you have to go if you need to walk there for any reason, if you don't know where to go. So out of the second camp in the Rotten Vale, you're just going to run on down here. Not going to go down towards the Valhazak, or you're going to go right towards the Orgoran lair. You're going to head into this little hole crevice here. Take a right, head on over to the pool here, and you're going to see one of the plunderers sitting up on the ledge there, polishing his plunder blade, and then just make sure you get a nice big photo of him, and you're good to go. So this is a big catch. This was probably my least favorite out of all of the ones to do, simply because this one didn't make any sense for me. I took so many photos, I didn't want to show a lot of the failures. You're looking for that green paw print, so that way it's just like on the map where you have the Boboas, the Gajalakas, where they have their barrages. You're looking for the Grimalkin Ivy Trap, and that's the plunderers, and it has to be done here, to my knowledge, in the Rotten Vale. You're going to see I'm using the Insect Glaive for some easy mounting damage. I'm terrible with the Insect Glaive, so I apologize to any Insect Glaive mains that are watching this. I don't use this weapon that often. I have maybe 10 hunts with one. But what you're trying to do here is you're trying to get a mount on the monster, so that in the area where the Grimalkin Ivy Trap is, so that way it will proc the Ivy Trap from the plunderers. There's the mount. I was like, oh my goodness, it's taking me so long to get that mount. So then acidic Glavenus is going to slam into the wall, I'm gonna get tossed, jump back on and drop down. The most important thing here is to get far enough away. Don't get too close because you want to get more than 3. And I know it says as large as possible, but you're going to want to get as far back as possible. It doesn't say to, but you want to get as far back as possible. When you're going to see that paw print pop up, snap a photo, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for that paw print to pop up to indicate that the photo's okay, because if you get too close, for whatever reason, it's not going to proc. That's what took me the longest. So definitely make sure that you get far back to get that done. Once you have all of those done for the Rotten Veil, the last one is going to be Eat or Be Eaten. Now this has to be done at night during acid rain down in the Val Hazak area. It can either be done in the lair of the Grimalkin, the Plunderers, or it can be done in the area where I have it. I believe it's area 15, closer to Val Hazak. You're going to see the little symbol, so that's one way that'll indicate where it is. I put on a ghillie mantle at some point just so that way there's a Savage Devil Joe walking around that was probably gonna destroy me if I stayed there too long. This clip was rather long because what you're looking for to get the 3-star paw print is for the Grimalkin to start angling a large fish. And that right there you see is a normal fish, just a small one, but here in a second you're going to see him really struggling against a big one, and that's what you're waiting for. I didn't have to wait too long, probably about 5 minutes at most, so just hang tight. Like I said, pop a ghillie mantle if there's a particularly aggressive monster roaming around, and this is what you're looking for to get that, and make sure you take it before the fish jumps out of the water. Alright, now we're heading to the Elder's Recess, and this is one of those easy ones that can be done in the lair for an easy research point, print, and research, as well as a Gajalaka ticket. You're just going to head to their lair. It can be done at any time, during any weather. You're just going to be taking a picture of them doing their little dance. Again, since you're probably in Celiana and doing this, you probably have access to the Gajalakas. But I know there are some players out there who are brand new to Monster Hunter who don't have a lot of mantles and don't have a lot of stuff, so don't fret. Just make sure that you go and do those Grimalkin quests from the Linian Researcher, and you'll eventually unlock the Gajalakas as Trail Raiders, and you'll be able to do this one. So you're going to head back here towards the Nergigante nest, and you're going to swing on over here, and you're going to see a little hole that you can crawl into. Ta-da! There you go. So really you're just going to take a picture of any of these Gajalakas that are doing their little dance. Just got to be from the front as large as possible, and you'll get yourself an easy 3-paw print. Next one is kind of like a big catch. It's Big Bang Attack. Originally I thought it had to be done during the Gajalaka Shell Shock, but none of them throw a Molotov cocktail, and then I realized it has to be like the other Trail Raiders where you have a Gajalaka helping you out. So just have a Palico befriend any of the Gajalakas on the map and take them with you. Unfortunately, you can't use a ghillie mantle for this one, so it can be a little more difficult because you have to be actually fighting a monster. If you choose something like the Lavasiath or Dodogama, it makes it a little easier because they're just slow, derpy monsters that Gajalaka can throw an easy Molotov cocktail, and you don't have to worry about a monster attacking you and knocking you over while you're trying to take a picture. But what you're looking for is just a nice big photo of the Gajalaka while he's throwing the Molotov cocktail. And see, you can see him right there. I put on the temporal so that way I can just have a nice, don't have to worry about getting carded, and bada bing bada boom, there you go. The last one for Elder's Recess is a little out of the way, and it was a little janky for me. It didn't really make any sense when I took this picture that you see here, because I had a better picture that was closer, that was just slightly off to the right of the Gajalaka that was hanging around, and it didn't work. But if you're going to head there. You're going to head from this camp down here on the southernmost point of the map, and instead of swinging a left to go down the hole to head to the lava area, you're going to head back like you first arrived in the Elder's Recess, way back when you first started playing the game and we're doing the story. You see a Barnos right there with something hanging off of it, and that's going to be your Gajalaka. There's no real time limit for this. I stood around for probably a good 5 minutes trying to make sure I got a really good picture. I took a ton of photos. I would suggest taking a few just that way you can be sure, because you can take multiple and turn them in. And another thing you can do is when you take a picture, you can examine it and compare it to the requirements, and all the requirements that are shown in orange will let you know that that photo is meeting those requirements. So if you aren't sure if the photo you have is gonna be a 3-pop print or not, just compare it to the requirements. I don't remember what it's exactly called in the book, but you can compare it and then see if it's gonna meet that. And if it doesn't, you can try again. Like I said, this one, I didn't notice any real time limit on this one. He just kept going around in a circle. And so just take multiple photos, check the requirements, and make sure you get the 3-pop print before you turn this one in. The first one for the Hoarfrost Reach, the new zone, is going to be Popo's Pecking Order, and it's for the Boas. Now this one, like the other ones, will require that you have done the linear research, that way you can do these guys. You can do this. They have to be able to be trail raiders for you, so you're going to have to be friends with them. And you're going to notice that I circled that particular area. I have seen them in other areas as well, so that's not the only area. But they're pretty easy to spot, and I know in a few other spots on the map, they're pretty outstanding, because you're just looking for the Boas to be climbing up on a Popo. And the way that I got this, and the way that I suggest you get this, is you take a picture of the Boa when he's on the back of the Popo. Try and get as big a picture of the one on the back of the Popo as you can, nice and as close to the front of them as you can, nice and close up to them, and that should be all the requirements that you're going to need. You'll see it right here. Click, click. There it is. Alright, so like the Grimalkin Vine Trap, this one is done during the Boa harpoon attack. So you're going to lure a monster over to the area, so that way they start attacking the monster. Boop, there he goes. And they start launching their harpoons, and you're not going to look at the guys down there, you're going to look at the big guy up on top, the shot caller. You're going to try and get a nice and close picture, wait for that pop print to show up, and bada bing, there you go. The last one is skinny dipping. So this is kind of a good point as to why you need to have the Grimalkins at a certain unity level, or make sure that you do the Grimalkin events so you can get to their lairs. This part's going to be a little bit long. It has to be done at night and during a blizzard. So this one was another one that took me a little bit to get procced, because if for whatever reason the need-o-meter knew that I needed it to be night and I needed a blizzard. And so I spent a lot of time just cycling through the days, just doing day forces where I just kept going into expeditions, leaving, going into expeditions, leaving, so that way the days would rotate until I could get that perfect storm of nighttime blizzard. There are multiple areas where this can happen. If you don't have the Popo, or not the Popo, the Boa lair unlocked, but it's pretty easy to get. You're just gonna take out a bow gun, bow, rock, shoot one of these wing drakes, latch onto them. And I discovered this almost by accident. If I hadn't done the boa quest, I wouldn't even known this was there. But if you latch on to the wing drake, just hold on, and he's gonna take you up all the way over here, up to their lair. And you're gonna drop down, boop, and you're gonna see all the little macaques just hanging out in the hot spring. But up above, they're on a ghillie mantle just in case, because I kind of figured, you know, Bobo is going to be taking a bath, going to be in the nude. Now, I almost didn't get the 3 paw prints on this, but you want to make sure you get them from the front. I took multiple pictures, and one of them thankfully counted, so definitely make sure that you're on front. And with that, everybody, that takes care of all of the Grimalkin photos. If you follow this guide, you should hopefully get all of the Grimalkin dolls and get some juicy rewards, some celestial prints for getting this out. I hope this helped you out. If it did, definitely let me know in the comments below. If you have anything to add, definitely add it to the comments below. I hope you all have a great night.